I need to warn you about the children's wish shop. I have a son and a daughter, Tommy and Mandy. There's a huge age difference between them, one 18, and the other 6, respectively. My husband was in the Navy, and he passed away at sea a few years ago. They never found him. My son's been of great help to me in my husband's absence, and he's always taken care of his sister well. He'd often miss out on school to babysit her, despite me telling him not to do so. He even works 2 jobs just to help me make ends meet. He was such a blessing to me and his little sister. During one of our occasional visits to the grocery store to stock up on our weekly supplies, we saw a poster labeled Children's Wish Shop stuck onto one of the cash counters. It caught my daughter's eye almost immediately, because it was decorated with glitters and sparkles, along with pictures of dolls and bikes. Cliché stuff to attract children. My son saw her jumping up and down to read it. "What's this, Mom?" he asked, looking at it. "I don't know, some children wish thing," I replied. Doubtfully, I asked the woman at the counter, Betsy, regarding the poster, whom I knew quite well due to my daily visits. She said that a young couple who moved recently put it up all over town, because they wanted to surprise children with Christmas gifts. All we had to do was send an email containing what our child wished for to the address mentioned in the poster. What kind of threw me off was the fact that they didn't mind wishes that were far-fetched or absurd, because they thought it would make fulfilling wishes much more fun. They actually printed that out on the poster, by the way. My daughter asked me if she could send in a wish. I was hesitant, and my son told me it was probably a scam. Betsy told us that it wasn't a scam, and that the young couple really seemed nice and helpful, because they even donated a large sum to the charity nearby. I still wasn't sure about it, but my daughter always found a way to convince me. Besides, if these people could make wishes come true, I wouldn't have to deal with Mandy constantly bickering and asking me questions about Santa arrived. I already bought gifts for my children. They weren't all that great, but if this wish thing made my daughter happier, I couldn't complain. I jokingly asked Tommy if he wanted to send in an absurd wish. He just shrugged it off with a silly smile, proceeding to carry his little sister out of the store on his shoulders. Times like these made me happy. I guess they're hard to get back now. As I got out of the store to my car, I saw the posters plastered on lamp posts and the walls of the store, which I didn't notice earlier. Gosh, they've put them everywhere, my son told me in mild surprise, as he carried his sister. I simply shook my head, not knowing what to say. It didn't seem like a desperate attempt to please people, but it was weird for me at least. No one really goes out of their way to shell out money on other kids. Why do they call it a shop though? Are we supposed to go to their place or something? He further asked. I knew my son was really suspicious about this whole thing. I told him I didn't know anything about this whole deal with the wishes, and that if this made Mandy happy, we'd just have to stick around with it. Once we reached home, my daughter was quick to run to the computer in her brother's room. Her brother followed after her, and I went in along with him, just to see things over. My son helped her type in everything, because she was too young to type on a keyboard. "What's your wish?" Tommy asked his sister dearly. "I want Daddy to come home." My heart broke over that. My son gazed at her for a minute before trying to make her understand calmly. "Mandy, Dad's not." I didn't let him finish. I told him to type it in. He tried to tell me it was unrealistic, but we could send in absurd wishes too, right? He gave in, and finally sent it to the young couple. Supposedly, we didn't speak to each other for the rest of the day, and we tried to keep ourselves cheerful and happy for the sake of my 6-year-old daughter. Christmas was 2 days away, and my daughter was just finishing up with play school. Parents had gathered in the hall to watch their children perform a dance the school had put together in 2 weeks. My son and his girlfriend, who was a lovely girl who loved Mandy, accompanied me. After the performance, I met another parent, a mother, who had come with her husband to watch their son perform. We got talking, and while we did, she mentioned the dream shop. I was intrigued by it, and I wanted to know more, so I thought I could casually discuss it with her, being a mother too. Through the course of our discussion, she mentioned how she believed she might have made a mistake, because after she sent in an email with her child's wish, she began feeling a sense of being watched. She never saw anything or anyone, but believed that the poster was misleading people and putting them in danger, and that the young couple thing was a ruse. Of course, this made me double up security in the house. Tommy helped install cams in the house and decided to come back early from his shifts. I decided to put extra locks on the bedroom doors too. Christmas was around the corner at this point. That's when it happened. At around 1 in the morning, I heard the doorbell ring. It was pitch black outside, and I knocked on Tommy's door to ask him if he could accompany me downstairs. Tommy didn't respond, and I thought he was fast asleep. I figured he was too tired after work, so I didn't knock further. I climbed down the stairs slowly. The floor had creaked behind me, but no one was there when I turned back. The hallway light was turned on and the Christmas tree was lit, despite turning it off before going to bed. Someone was there. I looked at the recliner my husband used to sit in. Someone was really there, leaning back, facing the Christmas tree. I slowly walked to the recliner, grabbing the nearest object to defend myself. There was a stench coming from the direction. As I made my way around the recliner, finally facing it, I thought I had seen death. Actual death. I screamed my head off, dropping my weapon, while facing a zombified dead body, in the Navy's uniform, complete with badges and achievement medals. Everything my husband ever earned while he was in service. But I knew it wasn't him. It couldn't be. He was never found. His body was lost at sea, floating among the peaceful, blue waves. My scream attracted attention, as my daughter scurried into the living room. I asked her to run to my bedroom and call for her brother tearfully. I had no idea why Tommy wasn't there when I needed him. As I tried walking away from the unidentified corpse to call the police, I noticed a white piece of paper, neatly folded in half, placed on its lap. I picked my weapon, a sharp stick, from the floor and pushed the note to the floor. I picked it up. This is what it said. "A very Merry Christmas to you, dear Mandy. Oh, how fun it is to play games with you. Daddy has come back home and he's waiting for you. But be careful, Daddy's a bit flimsy. So you have to be careful. We love good children. Therefore, we have another surprise for you. Look upstairs, sweet Mandy." My heart raced as I ran upstairs, praying for the safety of my children. I've never been much of a prayer, but at that moment I found myself begging and questioning God desperately. I found Mandy banging her tiny fists on her brother's bedroom door, shouting his name. The door was locked, and the only way I could open it was if I ran myself into it. I threw myself towards the door with tears stinging my eyes, each thrust harder than the last, praying that no harm reaches my son. After much force, the door flung open, only to reveal an empty bed with its ruffled covers and an open window. My son was gone. A similar note was placed on the floor beneath the windowsill. It read, "For every wish there comes a price. Sweet, sweet Mandy. Your brother was a priceless gem, a diamond in the rough. Oh, Mrs. Stafford, do not weep, for your son will soon be among good people, for he deserves better, a place like paradise. Your Christmas wish has been granted, dear Mandy, but remember, for every wish, know that there comes a price." The Aberdeens. I fell down to my knees, weeping. As the note mentioned, my daughter stood beside me, asking me if I was alright. The Aberdeens, it said. That young couple, despite everything, the cameras and the extra locks, they still took him. My son, Mandy's brother. Our blessing. We needed him too much. Maybe that was it. But I want my son back. I want him back. I want my Tommy back. I need help. Please help me. I'll do anything. But I keep trying to push that constant thought out of my mind, that binds me to question my dependence on him. At such a young age, every wish comes with a price, doesn't it?